What's up guys, Matt back again with another unboxing video, and today we're going to be discussing the Masterlise Masked Saiyan from Ichiban Kuji Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. This figure's based on Masked Saiyan from the Super Dragon Ball Heroes card game. The figure's based on Masked Saiyan from one of his Super Dragon Ball Heroes cards. It's even featured on the box. This figure sells for an average price of $30 US on the market. If you're interested in buying this figure for cheap, then use my discount code Peaches24 at bashmancollectibles.com to get 10% off of your first order and 5% off of every future order afterwards. This figure was released on July 26, 2019, along with the rest of the Ichiban Kuji set. The Ichiban Kuji set consists of Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Vegito, UI Goku, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Vegito, Masked Saiyan, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and the last one prize Super Saiyan 4 Xeno Gogeta. This figure stands at about 8.5 inches tall, weighs 1 pound 9.7 ounces in box, weighs 14 ounces on his own, and the figure comes whole with his support. Alright, the last Super Dragon Ball Heroes review that I'm going to do for a little bit. I'm sure I'll collect the rest of this set sooner rather than later. We'll see about that. I've been doing mystery selection boxes with Bashman just for fun content for my reaction. I basically just give them a list. I'm like, hey, here are the Ichiban Kuji figures I'm hunting. Here's my budget. Go ahead and include whatever you want from this list. For my box, and that's why when you see me open up those Bashman boxes, I'm like, whoa, my god. So if they decide to throw more Super Dragon Ball Heroes stuff in there, you know, cool, we'll do it. But yeah, here's a figure that I never had. Hey, Xenoverse fans, where are you? Hey, Turquoise Corn, I know you're watching this. Are you a fan of this figure? Let me know in the comments. But let's talk about the Masked Saiyan, right? Not my buddy Masked Saiyan on YouTube. The figure, the character. So this was a very peculiar thing. It's definitely like an edgy Dragon Ball character, right? He feels super edgy. Very interesting concept, right? For Super Dragon Ball Heroes, and he's been spread across multiple things. You know, there's Xenoverse, there's Super Dragon Ball Heroes. I think he's part of something else I can't even think of right now. Maybe Legends or Dokkan Battle? I don't know. But yeah, very interesting. Wonder what his identity is. It's clearly Bardock. Man, Bandai wants to use Bardock for every single Super Dragon Ball Heroes character, but they don't want to give us a proper Masterlise Bardock. Like, can you please just give us Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super Bardock? Please, Bandai. I'm betting right now the next film Kuji or something special OVA Kuji, it's going to be a Bardock one. Mark my words. But hey, I'm still pretty happy with this. He fits Super Dragon Ball Heroes. He is a prominent character across all of these different, you know, platforms and you know, spin-offs. So I think the character choice is pretty good. I'll give it a 5 out of 5. I ain't got no problems with it. I think it's a cool concept. We know it's Bardock, and I like Bardock, so even if it is him in disguise, I'm still happy with that. Likeness, really hard to mess this up, really. Just because his mask is in the way. I do like the way that they made his mask, right? Like, lots of matte finishes, but the little green emblem on his forehead is glossy and glittery, so that's kind of cool. And you can even still see his face on the inside of the figure. If you look within the mask, you can kind of see his face there. Obviously, you can see his scar and his eye showing, and they even made his eye red, so, you know, I think, is he mind controlled or something? I don't know. So someone could tell me in the comments what the story is with Mask Saiyan, because I can't remember anything from Xenoverse. It went in one ear and out the other. I'm not the biggest Xenoverse fan. I'm sorry. But yeah, his likeness is good. It looks very awesome. The mask is super cool, and it's broken. Very good details along there. I'm going to give that a 5 out of 5. No problems there. Sculpt quality is pretty good. I have no real issues with it. You have that texture on his fur, which is pretty good. And he's got a very interesting pose, and dang, dude, his muscles are very, very bulging. There is like a seam at the top of his head, just going across the top of his head, which is, you know, a little distracting, but not that noticeable, really. So I don't have a huge issue with that. So I do like the sculpt. I don't have a lot of problems with it. There's great detail along every little bit of it, and the pose is pretty awesome for the figure. So I'll give that a 5 out of 5. I have no problem with the sculpt whatsoever. Great job on that, Bandai. Paint and shading, that's where I'm a little iffy. So I mentioned a couple things about the paint, right? So there's that cool, glittery, green, glowy thing on his forehead. Lots of notable shading across his skin, and they gave that awesome matte finish and shading to the colored parts of his armor, the non-black areas. You can even see, I think there's shading on the black part of his lower body, which is very cool. And then his boots are super glossy. It does seem like there's a little bit of sloppy application here, so I don't know if this was just my figure, but across the left side, right here on his lifted arm, under his, I guess, bezel or something, or I don't really know what to call that, but on his left nipple, we're back to the nipple, guys, just like Omnibus Brave Goku. There is like a very glaring paint defect. It almost looks like it's not scratched, but the paint got scratched off, because the black part of his armor is glossy, and then this part is not glossy. There's literally like a line going down there. It looks like a stain or a cut or a scratch of some sort. So I don't know if that's just a QC issue on my figure, or if that's pretty, you know, noticeable with other figures. So I wish that wasn't there, but, you know, it's not super noticeable just because it's so black. So not a huge deal, and I do like the paint and details across the rest of the figure, so I'm going to give his paint and shading a 4 out of 5. No big deal there. I think really the detracting element is that paint defect right there. And honestly, the glossiness on his armor and his boots and his wrists looks kind of cheap, but, you know, nothing too bad there. So I think it's a 4 out of 5 for paint and shading. Size and scale, also pretty good. I think that came out very good. He is crouched down, so even though he is 8.5 inches, he will scale well with the rest of the set. He'll scale well with other figures. He might even look kind of big compared to some figures, but yeah, he's a very good size. He's just crouched down. I'm sure if he stood up, he would easily hit that 10-inch mark, no problem. So I think this is a great size figure. If you're trying to create like some type of Xenoverse or Super Dragon Ball Heroes type of collection or shelf, I think he's going to go along with them really well. So size and scale is easily a 5 out of 5. I really like the size of this thing. I feel like, you know, I'm holding something pretty hefty in my hands, even when taking a look at it. So yeah, I think that's really the short and simple of it, guys. Solid figure, a little bit of the QC issues. It's hard to mess up a figure that's masked, because usually when you mess up the face of a figure, it's hard to justify the rest of it if it's really bad, you know? But yeah, he looks pretty good. I think it's a very unique figure. There aren't a lot of masked Saiyan figures of Bardock. So if you're interested in it, he's super cheap. So why don't you go pick him up? But today, I'm going to walk away and give him a 4 out of 5. Thank you all again for watching today's video. But before we move on to the upcoming giveaways this month, I'd like to mention my new merch that's launched. We've got shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more. If you want to support me a bit further and rock some of the merch on the channel, please check out the shop tab on my channel. But until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.